Hey, what's going on, guys? Hervin here, and welcome to our new studio. We got for Salsa Ninjas, our new Salsa Ninja t-shirts are here. Hey, listen, we just made this channel, we're revamping it, we're calling it now, we're switching on from Latin dance movement onto Salsa Ninjas because we want to form a tribe here with you guys of online dancers, people who want to practice, who want to succeed in salsa dancing. We're here to share tips with you. We're gonna have more dance lessons, live dance lessons. We're gonna have dancing tips. We're gonna have like things like this where we talk one-on-one, me and you guys. So anyway, let's get started. In today's episode though, this is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be about my salsa journey, how I started as a salsa dancer, and I just got done teaching class, and the students that I had, they asked me, it's so, how long did it take you to be this good, or were you a born dancer, or you naturally, you just naturally move so gracefully? And to me, when people tell me that, I always laugh because, believe it or not, if you would have told me 10 years ago that I was gonna be a salsa dancer and that this was gonna become my passion and that I was gonna love salsa dancing, I would have said no way, I don't believe you. Growing up, I was a really shy, introverted kid, really awkward. I remember going to school, I had this black hoodie that I used to wear and my head down all the time, no dancing for me. I used to just be completely socially awkward. I didn't know how to talk to people. I couldn't even get a girlfriend back in high school. So there's no way I would think of becoming a dancer or a salsa dancer. I didn't even like salsa growing up. That was the music that my grandfather used to listen to, and I used to think wow, that's his music. I don't want anything to do with that. Funny how things change, but anyway, nowhere near a salsa ninja. Now, my grandma tried teaching me when I was really young. She tried showing me a couple of basic steps, and she said, look, this is how you need to learn how to dance. This is how you're gonna, girls want to dance with guys, and so you need to learn. And she sat me down with my aunt. They tried teaching me the basics. They're like, you gotta feel the music. You gotta do your steps. You gotta move your hips. And I didn't move my hips, I couldn't feel anything. And so I just remember being frustrated, confused, and thinking to myself, why do I need to dance anyway? I'm not good at this, I have 2 left feet, I'm hopeless, I don't want to do this dancing thing, I think it's stupid, and I just left it alone. But anyway, let's fast forward a couple of years later. So I was in high school. I remember going to quinces, which are parties where kids that are turning 15 years old, they go to. And I just remember going to these parties and the lights, the dark light, the kids dancing, there was always the music, the DJs, and everybody seems to be having an awesome time. And I was just sitting there, on the corner, just watching everybody, wishing that I could be part of the whole thing. And, wishing that I could learn how to dance, wishing that I knew how to dance so that I could join them. Because it all seemed like so much fun, but I was so shy and so awkward and so uncoordinated. And then, like I said, I had 2 left feet, so I felt like I couldn't do it. But, I still would watch and I still would be yes, I would love to do this someday. Especially when the salsa music came on. There was always this 2 Cuban kids. And I remember this with jealousy, because every time they would play salsa music at any of these parties, there was this 2 kids, they knew how to dance salsa, and the music came on, and girls would just line up to dance with these 2 kids. Literally, a line of girls waiting to dance with these 2 kids salsa, because they were the only 2 kids that knew how to do it. And now it's just me and this little group of kids, we would just sit there hating pretty much. But all of us wishing that we were them, that we knew how to dance. And so like that was awesome. That's how the kids did it. That's how, like, I remember that they had these girls lining up to dance with them, and I knew that I wanted to learn to dance so that I could have girls lining up to dance with me. But anyway, that didn't happen then. I graduated high school, and I had 6 months before I started college. I was starting college a little bit late. I decided, like, once I graduated high school, I left that city and went to live with my dad in another city. I left my hometown. And I just remember back then, like me, I had a lot of time to reflect. I had a lot of time just to think and think about my life and what I wanted to do. I was starting a new chapter in my life. And to be honest, like, I hated my life back then. You know, I was completely shy. Like I said, I was addicted to video games. You know, that was one of the ways that I would cope with the way I was, like, my life was at the time. I was addicted to video games, sometimes even playing 15 hours a day of video games. And when I say sometimes, I mean a lot of times sitting down and just playing all these video games. And like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I just hated my life. I didn't feel good about who I was. I didn't feel good about what I was doing. I remember, like, I felt like a complete loser in my head. I felt pathetic, like, you know, when you really feel like you don't like where you're at, and you don't like how things are happening for you, or how you, like, you're just stuck. You don't know where to go. Anyway, so I kept on asking myself, like, what do I want to do? Like, what if I had it my way? You know, I'm in a new city. Nobody knows me here. I have a fresh start, and I have some time off. Like, what is it that I want to do? And I kept on thinking about that every day. And so until one day, I'm like, you know, like, it kept on occurring to me, like, I want to be more confident. I want to be a leader. I want to be more outgoing. I want to be an example for people, you know. I want to be like, I remember I had images of, like, this uncle that I have who's really charismatic, and like kids who were really popular in school, in high school, who I used to look up to. And I used to think, like, what do they have in common? And I used to think, like, well, I mean, they were at least very confident and very outgoing. And I thought, like, I need to develop that in myself, but I didn't know how to. I was extremely shy growing up. And so to me, like, I kept on thinking, like, how can I be more like that? How can I be more confident? What can I do to start becoming more outgoing? How can I step out of my shell? And then, like, as I kept on thinking about that, like, I remember going to the little parties, and I remember, like, growing up, seeing my family and how they were dancing, and how that was a really sociable thing to do in my culture. And also being Latin, I was embarrassed of, like, me not knowing how to dance, having 2 left feet, and hiding it because I didn't want anyone to know. And especially because my dad growing up would always tell me stories about how an amazing dancer he was growing up, how he used to have this nickname where they would call him the spinning top for how much dancing and turns and stuff like that he did. And so to me, I used to think about that, and, like, it occurred to me one day, I'm like, you know, maybe that'll be the way to go. Maybe if I, like, learn how to dance, that would at least give me some confidence, and that would put me, like, at the next step. I was terrified of the dance floor. I was terrified of going to the parties, of dancing, of, like, showing that I had 2 left feet. I thought it was, like, putting myself in a vulnerable position. And so I was terrified, and I thought, like, this would be a great way to face my fears. And so I thought, okay, my dad knows how to dance. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna muster up the courage and tell him, like, hey, you know, I want to learn how to dance. But I didn't want him to see that I had 2 left feet. So one night my dad comes home, and I'm like, hey, Dad, you know, I want to learn how to dance, but I don't want you to teach me. And without even blinking, he's like, I know where you could go. there's a place really close by that they teach salsa lesson. And then as soon as I said that, I'm like, boom, my stomach drops, and I'm like, oh my God. In my head, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's scary, really, this is the next step. I knew I had to do it, but I was scared. And so I kept on thinking to myself, like, wow, like, what if I'm the worst student in class? What if people are gonna make fun of me? What if I have 2 left feet and I'm hopeless, and I just kept on imagining like this amazing dancers in class, like this guy with his slicked hair back, open shirt, and this woman with this like mini skirt, and amazing dancers in class, and I was just gonna be there like a total loser, sucking, and everybody was gonna make fun of me. And that's what I had replaying in my head for about a month. Since I had that conversation that night with my dad about me wanting to learn how to dance, a month passed by of me thinking about that and like trying to convince myself to finally show up to this salsa lessons. And I just kept on thinking, like, you know, like the only way I'm gonna make it is like, I know nobody knows me there. This is a new city. Like, I have no friends that are coming to these things. I know, like, the worst case scenario is I make a fool of myself. I trip and fall, and like everybody laughs at me, or I step all over somebody, and like if I hate it, I'll never be back and nobody even knows me there. So I think that is the worst case scenario. So I took that chance and I said, okay, you know, after a month, I finally decided to go and try out this lesson. And I remember, like, with anxiety, how I showed up to the first class and how I was like, oh my God, here I am, I'm doing this, I'm gonna learn how to dance, this is gonna be it, like, okay. You know, I knew I had to do this. I knew I wanted to become more confident. I knew I wanted to step out of my shell, but I was terrified, I was scared. So I show up to the class, and actually, to my surprise, like, no guy with slick haircut and like an open chair was there. In fact, it turned out like everybody was really friendly. It was all kinds of people. There were young people like me, there were older people, there were people with 2 left feet, people with complete, but everybody was brand new beginner, and everybody was in the same boat, but everybody was super friendly. And I took that class, and I didn't kick ass, excuse my language, but I survived. I mean, I survived the class, but I loved it, you know. In that single class, I stepped out of my comfort zone. I actually met like 10 people in that class just that day. Everybody was super friendly, and I thought, like, wow, this is actually really, really awesome. I could see this, like, how I could come over here. I saw the people that were taking more, like people who've been there for about 3 weeks, and how they could already dance a little bit. And I'm like, wow, that's super exciting. I could actually, if I take lessons, I could actually get good. And I could actually progress. And people here are so friendly, and this would be an awesome way for me to start socializing with people, getting out of my shell, getting out of my comfort zone. And that's exactly what I did, you know. I didn't show up the rest of that week, but I showed up the next week. And then from there on, I was addicted. I was hooked. You know, I kept on taking lessons. I didn't stop taking lessons for about 9 months, where I would take classes like 2 or 3 times a week for a really long time. And I got a little bit more confident, got a little bit better each class. I remember being addicted to watching YouTube videos of dancers all the time, and like that's what I would do. And I didn't have a partner to practice with, so I would sit there in my room by myself, like looking at the videos and mimicking the things by myself. I remember that, and it was awesome, you know. And I could see how I started to become a little bit more confident, stepping out of my shell. I started to meet more people. I went to my first salsa party, which I'll tell you in another episode about, like, where I finally got the courage, like, after a while, and how I ended up going to my first salsa party. But the journey was amazing. It was awesome. You know, I really loved it. and I end up taking the salsa lessons, you know. Yes, at the very end of it all, I do now, when I go to salsa parties, I do end up getting some people to come in there. I don't get a line of people showing up to dance with me, but I do get some people asking me to dance. But most importantly of all, like, I felt like salsa dancing completely changed my life. It completely changed my confidence. It did. You know, I met my girlfriend salsa dancing, you know, and so I'm extremely grateful. And if you could do it, I mean, if you're thinking about taking lessons, do it. It's gonna change your life. It has the potential to change your life if you take it seriously and if you dedicate your time to it. So that's my story. I wanna leave you guys with that. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. If you wanna learn more about salsa dancing tips, if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate or an advanced dancer, I'm gonna be posting here more videos. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe here for more salsa tutorials. If you wanna be a salsa ninja, this is the place to be, guys. Looking forward to meeting you. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and if you're in that same position or if you can relate to this somehow, subscribe. See you guys soon.